Hey, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? You know what I haven't done in a really long time? Made an EU4 video other than a Let's Play. So with this video, I'm happy to announce that in the future you can expect nation guides, top 10s, and detailed analyses of certain game functions like absolutism and religion tiers. I'm sorry for another interruption just before we get into this top 10, but I'd like to announce that as of yesterday, the channel just hit 500 subs, and I just have to say thank you all so much for the recent support in the last little month. It really means a lot to me, so thank you guys so much. Alright, so I'll be ranking this list from what I think are the best beginner-friendly nations in the game. This criteria looks at the geography of the nation, meaning who their neighbors are, their national ideas, their events, and their expansion opportunities. These nations are the ones I consider the easiest in certain areas of the globe, not necessarily the best in the game, but not in any particular way that you'd have to maximize your resources just to survive. So without further ado, let's begin. At the number 10 spot, we have Poland. Poland starts off in a unique situation from a lot of other nations, as very early on they get an event that fires 100% of games. This event is the successor of Vladislav II, an event in which the player can either choose a new king, usually one with very high monarch points, or the second more obvious choice, which is the personal union over Lithuania. With Lithuania starting with no liberty desire upon securing the personal union, you have a permanent ally in any war who also happens to have a large economy and can support a large swath of troops. Not to mention that Poland can take a decision to integrate Lithuania early, allowing the formation of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Poland is also situated in a position to push into Scandinavia and Russia, or into Hungary and into the Ottomans if you're feeling ballsy. Polish ideas are also some of the best in the game, allowing for some of the best cavalry mid-game with the winged hussars, as well as many other military bonuses. At number 9 is Vijayanagar. Vijayanagar is the Queen of India, starting as one of the most developed nations in the entire region. Your starting position allows you to immediately begin conquests along the coast, bolstering your trade and economic capabilities and denying any weaker nations from selling their land to Europeans later on, which is important to make sure you don't find yourself in conflict with global colonial powers that you don't want to. Your only real threat from the start is Bahmanis, your neighbor to the north, who isn't the biggest problem to deal with. Vijayanagari missions encourage the conquest of most of India and even into East Africa, southern Indochina, and into the Moluccas. Vijayanagari ideas promote a network of trade and conquest with economic and military bonuses. As Vijayanagar, you can also form a mighty Bharat, displaying your new power to the world. At the number 8 spot is Morocco. Morocco has Berber ideas, is a Muslim nation which is one of the best religions in the game, and has the potential to form the old Al-Andalus. Morocco starts in the position to partition Tlemcen with Tunis, who you can choose to betray and annex yourself or keep as an ally. Morocco can also easily secure an alliance with the Ottomans, only having to wait a few years to gain 10 favors or to simply participate in one of their wars to speed up the process. Morocco is also in a convenient location for colonization of Brazil and into South America if you so choose. Morocco has Berber ideas, allowing for the powerful ability to raid coasts, stuffing your coffers full of money and giving more sailors to power your fleets. At number 7 spot is Austria. Austria starts in a very unique situation in the game as the Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. In this position, Austria can enact reforms and gain bonuses, becoming one step closer unifying the Holy Roman Empire into one nation with each reform. Austria also has a large chance of forming a personal union with Hungary, creating the historical Austro-Hungarian Union. If the player is diligent enough, you can even score personal unions over Castile, Aragon, Naples, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, and Bohemia with powerful Habsburg diplomacy. Austrian ideas and missions promote the development and steady conquest of surrounding areas, adding them to the empire, and the Burgundian inheritance event even has a high chance of giving free land to Austria, if you don't mind an independence war later on and giving some of it back to Dutch rebels. At the number 6 spot is Ming. Now, Ming is an interesting case. If you're playing with the Mandate of Heaven on, this is a great choice for reasons that I'll get into, but if you don't have the Mandate of Heaven, I would not suggest trying Ming out because they tend to break due to rebels spawning for various reasons that are mostly solved through the DLC. With Mandate of Heaven though, Ming can become an absolute powerhouse, starting as the world's greatest power from the beginning of the game. Ming has meritocracy replacing legitimacy and has the Celestial Empire as their government form, and the Mandate of Heaven allowing access to the powerful Empire of China mechanic. Although Ming has few missions, they start with a ridiculously powerful economy and a near-endless pool of manpower to draw from. All of Ming's tributaries can also grant Ming monarch points that can be used to develop the institutions that start in Europe, and, if you so choose, Ming can also become its own colonial empire. Ming ideas and traditions are heavily focused on economy and military, allowing you to expand your network of tributaries across the globe. Ming truly has a unique playstyle that is friendly towards newer players. The number 5 spot belongs to Portugal. Portugal at the beginning of the game is relatively small compared to the next few countries on the list. However, their true potential lies in how they develop. Portugal starts with a small part of North Africa, a great stepping stone into Morocco and the rest of the Maghreb. Portugal also starts with a huge colonial edge from their Age of Discovery unique bonus with a whopping bonus of plus 50 settler growth if the player has Mandate of Heaven enabled. The combination of having exploration and expansion ideas and Portugal can quickly set up new colonial nations, blocking other Europeans with the Treaty of Tordesillas if the El Dorado expansion is enabled. Portuguese ideas and missions focus heavily on creating a vast trade empire across the globe, allowing you to shape the way you interact with other Europeans and raising you to the status of a great power. Next on the list is a nation I consider one of the chillest nations in the game, perfect for beginners. Castile at the number 4 spot teaches many of the newest mechanics and some of the friendliest ways to players because of their unique diplomatic situation. Castile starts off with high development and easy to secure alliances with Austria, Portugal, and other European nations. Not only that, but Castile also gets the Iberian wedding event in most games. This gives Castile a free personal union over Aragon and Naples, who you can integrate and form Spain via a mission later in the game. Spanish ideas and missions focus very heavily on the colonization of South America and Mexico, and encourage the player to expand into Italy and even France if you're feeling courageous. Spain, like Portugal, is a big trade game with colonies, and you're given the option to have almost nothing to do with Europe if you really don't want to. I did a tutorial playthrough up until the early 1500s as Castile, and you can check that out in the top right when it pops up or in the description down below. Spot number 3 is France. Yes, a lot of these nations happen to be European and for good reason of colonization, but France is a bit of an odd one. At the beginning of the game, France is faced with the Surrender of Maine event, by which you may choose to start a defensive war against England, enabling you to call in your allies to help as well. As a starting player, you're essentially given free land, as England is quite inept at landing large armies at this point of the game. If you're a more advanced player, you can invade England and set up your own foothold in the British Isles to continue conquesting later on. French ideas allow for unique colonization bonuses and some of the most powerful military bonuses in the entire game. France also has the chance of getting the French Revolution event later in the game, starting the revolution and giving even more military bonuses to your armies. France is a unique colonizer who doesn't have tons of missions for colonies but has lots of potential for it. France's missions encourage expansion into the Holy Roman Empire and Italy, and you can even tackle Spain if you're looking for a challenge. The next 2 nations are ones that are considered the scourge of all players if they're left to their own devices, and I consider fairly equal to each other in terms of frustration when you're not playing as them. At spot number 2 is the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire is usually deeply despised by the community for good reason. Their unique access to Janissary troops after taking Constantinople and incredible artillery age bonuses as well as a starting tradition of discipline make them almost impossible to beat in battle, not to mention they can field some of the largest armies from the beginning of the game and have access to one of the largest navies in the game right from the get-go. The dreaded Kebab has almost no rival from the beginning, allowing them to push deep into Asia and even into Europe. It's not uncommon you can find yourself taking large swaths of land from Europeans simply because you can, and they can't do anything about it. As one of the easiest to snowball nations in the game, the Ottomans are friendly towards new players because quite simply it is hard to screw up as them. While being the scourge of the old world, at the number 1 spot is England as the scourge of the new world in Africa and Asia and India and just about everywhere, really. England has really good naval traditions and ideas, as well as access to a unique naval doctrine, the Wooden Wall. All of these bonuses allow England to be almost entirely impenetrable from naval invasions. This allows the player to move at their own pace, conquering Scotland and Ireland to form Great Britain, at which point you can do just about whatever you please, staying out of European politics if you wish, or using your naval might to take down Denmark, France, Spain, and Portugal. English missions heavily encourage the conquest of faraway lands such as India and becoming the powerful might of the British Empire that existed in real life. England also has access to the English monarchy, an interesting constitutional monarchy with the ability to pass temporary government laws, giving certain bonuses to the player. Although not as militarily strong as the Ottomans, England has the potential to dwarf any other power in Europe and conquer the other powers in the world. Thanks for watching today's top 10. If you're wondering, my first ever nation that I played as was Castile, but that didn't go too well considering when you don't have any of the DLCs, things don't tend to go as well as they do when you watch someone else play that nation, because they have the DLCs. And if you're wondering what DLCs that you should purchase if you've just gotten the game, I may suggest that The Art of War, Common Sense, El Dorado, and Rights of Man are very good purchases, as they have the biggest changes that are useful to the player, and all that other DLC stuff is situational in my opinion, although they do add some good old flavor to the game. Of course, I suggest waiting until the DLCs are on sale on Steam, and trust me, your wallet will definitely thank you for it. Hopefully you now have an idea of what nation to play next. Don't forget to drop a like if you appreciate the suggestions, subscribe for more strategy games daily, and this is Quarbit signing off, and as always, have a fantastic day.